Today we're connected with Celios Director, Bhima Yudhistira. Nice to have you again, Mas Bhima.
Hi,
How
Miss
are
Mas
you?
Bhima. Morning.
Thanks for having me back
Good-
again.
Great to
Good
have you
morning.
back.
All right, so first question,
Good
how would you
morning.
describe a digital bank and what makes it different from mobile and online banking services of the conventional banks?
The main difference is the digital bank, they don't have any branches. They only have a single or main head office. So if you want to do a transaction, you don't need to be queue in the traditional bank or branches. So you can do fully in the digital apps. You can cross apps also. If you, for instance, want to opening your bank account, you just need to click the other apps. So it's very easy compared with the traditional bank, or even there is a more advanced services compared with the mobile banking. For instance, you can buy insurance in the digital bank. You also can do the investment. You can split your account. So there's some benefit of the digital bank. But the basic is digital bank, they don't have any branches,
Okay.
or they only have one or two branches and main office. That's it.
Okay, so it seems to me, at least products and services wise, it's still the same. Now, it took a while for me to fully transition to a digital banking system, especially throughout the pandemic. It's made it made that transition a lot quicker. However, we're seeing more and more things such as these tycoons that we were talking about, investing in digital banks. And that, if anything, has assured me that this is likely going to be the way of the future. Would you consider it as a potential growing business, or is it just kind of blowing up right now for the moment?
Yeah, this is the future of the banking, yeah, because everyone needs 24/7 in every weeks. In the meantime, they want to have a fully transaction digitally, and it's made easier for us, for our business. Of course, many of the small medium enterprise also hope that digital bank give so many loan to working capital to increase the scale of their businesses, and for the consumer also buying some e-commerce product, and they can do the pay later with the digital bank. So digital bank actually is the new game of the town. Many conglomerates in Indonesia having shares in the digital bank. That's also a good sign, and also have a negative sign. The good side is previously we depend more on the foreign capital and the venture capital coming from the other countries. Only small number of the venture capital at the beginning of the digital bank coming from Indonesia or local venture capital. But right now, so many venture capital coming from the conglomerates. That's a good sign. They want to contribute more to the economy. But also, we also see that there's a risk out there when there's a conglomerates putting so much shares in the digital bank. Perhaps digital banking and traditional banking is not so different, while 70% of the shares of digital bank and traditional bank owned by big corporation. So there is also risk of oligopoly or monopolistic in the digital bank in the future.
Right. Would like to shift the focus to the readiness of the Indonesian ecosystem. In terms of the adoption, of course, we've seen also from our experience throughout the pandemic, and a lot of the millennials and Gen Z who started off as becoming an adult as well, the potential for adoption is really high. You mentioned also it's more integrated services and more varied services, but what about from the supply side itself, in terms of technology and human resources, are we ready to essentially have this digital banking? Because actually a few weeks back, there are some issues with some of the digital banking in Indonesia.
Yeah, if we're talking about the operational of the digital bank. Of course, they need more funding for the investment. It's not like a small-sized business. It's this big business which is require a lot of human resources, human resources training, also skill development, and new profession in terms of AI, for instance, and also customer service doing in the digitally. They need better ecosystem, better investment. And of course, in terms of the infrastructures, in the beginning, digital bank may grow exponentially, but more focused on the town or urban area, where the internet connection is quite stable and also higher internet speed. But we see that development in some region, for instance, outside of the Java province, maybe they take like a 4 to 5 years more to adopt the digital bank because of the infrastructure's challenges. But in terms of the human resources, if you're talking about the human resources readiness or skill readiness, yes, in the digital era, we need 9 million at least gap in the digital workers in Indonesia in variety of the occupation or jobs. So we need to catch up with this kind of digital skill gap that many in the university right now catch up with the boot camp, with the skill development training. And of course, during the pandemic, many of the workers try to reskilling by using online platform learning.
Sure. There you go, Russia. Lots of jobs out there. I'm
Yes,
sure, in the near
exactly.
future. So we mentioned all of these, several of the big names that are now kind of jumping in or joining the chat, if you will, when it comes to digital banking. And we do know once you get big names, big money, you're going to get some big competition as well. So how is this, in your opinion, Mas Bhima, going to play out in the landscape of digital banking in the future? And how competitive do you think it's going to get?
Maybe the question is how many digital bank will be
Yeah.
out there as a winner, right?
Right.
Yep.
I mean, if we see in the South Korea, the winner of the digital bank around 2 or 3 big players. In the US also, there's so many digital bank, but at the end of the day, only 2 or 3 big players. And we also see these scenarios in Indonesia. There's the first scenario, many conglomerates hijack or buying small traditional bank and transform it into digital bank. But they also think that is it better to merge many of the bank and creating new digital bank rather than building so many digital banking apps. And the second one is it depends on the integration of ecosystem. Bigger the ecosystem, you have food delivery, you have e-commerce, and you have edutech, health tech. So you combine it with the financial apps, with the digital bank, you can be a winner in the market. So maybe 2 or 3 years later, we also already seen 10 of the digital bank, and that's okay. But moreover, there will be like a 2 or 3 big player as the winner in the market.
I found it annoying at first that I had all these apps on my phone and be like, oh, can we just choose one?
Right.
But nowadays, it's fine. I'm used to it and I keep looking for better deals and I compare one to the other. So I always
Exactly.
ask, what do you take?
Right.
And they'll give me 3 options and I'll look, okay, which one has the savings? It's just part of a routine these days.
Exactly.
I totally
But
get it.
very curious, do you have any projections on who will be the top 2 or 3 players? And do you think Alobank will dominate the digital market with all the support from the City Corps and Salim Group ecosystem?
Yeah, I do believe. Yeah, first we have Bank Jago,
Yep.
Alobank, also big competition from the Alobank because they have a good integration of the ecosystems. I think Grab is there, and the MTech also joined with the Alobank, and also Shopee also making a new digital bank by acquiring traditional bank and transform it into digital bank. So in the meantime, we have 3 or 4 big players, but we'll see if the Alobank performance is beating the market. Not only the stock price is going up, but also the performance and the way they acquire new customers. I think they'll be like big game changers in this year.
Okay, so Mas Bhima, the question now remains, what happens to conventional banks? I know my mom, I'm sure she still loves going to the bank and meeting her favorite teller, but it looks like these things are being phased out. And some of these banks out there, I mean, are literally too big to fail. So are they going to be forced to shift completely to a digital platform, or will they have some sort of hybrid system? What do you think will happen to conventional banks in the near future?
Yeah, the conventional bank, we have so many types. For instance, the conventional bank in the rural or village area where the internet connection is not as good as the urban area, many people still rely on the traditional bank. They still rely on the face-to-face meeting for credit or loan approval, for instance, or opening new bank account. So there is still relevance in the traditional bank in the rural area or small size of the rural bank. And also the government in every province they have their own traditional bank or Bank Pembangunan Daerah. They also cash management system for state budget in the province. They also still relevant. And the third one, I think the generation gap. Meanwhile, the Gen X and baby boomers still relied on the digital and traditional bank mixing. Yeah. Some of them adopting digital bank, but many of them still say that I still need customer service, which is human, not robot. And also, I think that there is a fast changing that they maybe need some time to learning about the digital bank. So millennial and Gen Z prefer digital bank, fully digital. Meanwhile, the other older or senior generation may prefer mixing both of them.
Thank you for the compliment, by the way, because I may be Gen X, but apparently I behave like a millennial.
Oh wow, you're like the
I'm young at heart.
Yeah, and the first adopter of the Gen X.
Absolutely, I love it.
So what do you think Indonesian digital banks growth compared to other countries, especially in Southeast Asia and maybe the world? Because I understand that the world CAGR for digital bank growth, I think, is around 17% from one of the Daily Social report. But what about in Southeast Asia and how Indonesia compared to the rest of the countries?
If we compare Indonesia with the Southeast Asia country like Malaysia or even Singapore's, the advanced technological country like Singapore's, the performance of the digital bank in Indonesia is quite good, yeah. But if we compare with the other developed countries outside Southeast Asia like South Korea, can you imagine the Kakao bank coming from the Kakao social media? Yep. So they only need 5 days to acquire 5 million new customers.
Wow.
So it's unbelievable, very fast. 5 million customers only need 5 days because they integrated the social media apps with the financial apps. So maybe we need some time to catch up with the other developed countries, but in terms of the Southeast Asia, like the Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia already perform better than the average.
Okay.
I should connect my social Instagram account to a banking app and get those follower numbers.
Yes, we have.
Mas Bhima, thank you so much for your time. We do see this trend as something that is very exciting for us as well as consumers, as well as for those in the industry as well. So we do appreciate your time today. Have yourself a wonderful one. Thanks for joining us once again. Stay safe.
Thank you, Mas Bhima.
Yeah, thank you.